Extract from A Zoo in My Luggage. I was, however, in no mood to admire views as I uncoiled myself from the red-hot interior of the lorry and jumped to the ground. What I wanted most in the world at that moment was a drink, a bath, and a meal, in that order. Almost as urgently, I wanted a wooden box to house the first animal we had acquired. This was an extremely rare creature, a baby black-footed mongoose, which I had purchased from a native in the village 25 miles back, when we had stopped there to buy some fruit. I've been delighted that we had started the collection with such a rarity, but after struggling with her for 2 hours in the front seat of the lorry, my enthusiasm had begun to wane. She had wanted to investigate every nook and cranny in the cab, and fearing that she might go and get tangled up in the gears and perhaps break a leg, I had imprisoned her inside my shirt. For the first half hour, she'd stalked round and round my body. Wait a minute, I have to get the page on the computer. Just a sec. Hold on. Sniffing loudly. For the next half hour, she had made several determined attempts to dig a hole in my stomach with her exceedingly sharp claws, and on being persuaded to desist from this occupation, she had seized a large portion of my abdomen in her mouth and sucked it vigorously and hopefully, while irrigating me with an apparently unending stream of warm and pungent. This in no way improved my already dusty and sweaty appearance, and as I marched up the steps of the UAC manager's house with the mongoose tail dangling out of my tightly buttoned urine-stained shirt, I looked, to say the least, slightly eccentric. Taking a deep breath and trying to seem nonchalant, I walked into the brilliantly lit living room and found 3 people there seated round a card table. They looked at me with a faint air of inquiry. "Good evening," I said, feeling rather at a loss. "My name's Durrell." It was not, I reflected, the most telling remark made in Africa since Stanley and Livingstone met. However, a small dark man rose from the table and came towards me, smiling charmingly, his long black hair flopping down over his forehead. He held out his hand and clasped mine, and then, ignoring my sudden appearance and my unconventional condition, he peered earnestly into my face. "Good evening," he said. "Do you, by any chance, play canasta?" "No," I said, rather taken aback. "I'm afraid I don't." He sighed, as if his worst fears had been realised. "A pity, a great pity," he said. Then he cocked his head on one side and peered at me closely. "What did you say your name was?" he asked. "Durrell, Gerald Durrell." "Good heavens!" he exclaimed, realisation dawning. "Are you that animal maniac head office warned me about?" "I expect so." "But my dear chap, I expected you 2 days ago. Where have you been?" "We would have been here 2 days ago if our lorry hadn't broken down with such monotonous regularity. These local lorries are bloody unreliable," he said, as if letting me into a secret. "Have a drink?" "Oh, I should love one," I said fervently. "May I bring the others in? They're all waiting in the lorries." "Oh, yes, bring them all in. Of course. Drinks all round." "Thanks a lot," I said, and turned towards the door. My host seized me by the arm and drew me back. "Tell me, dear boy," he said in a hoarse whisper, "I don't want to be personal, but is it the gin I've drunk, or does your stomach always—" "No," I said gravely, "it's not my stomach. I've got a mongoose in my shirt." He gazed at me unblinkingly for a moment. "Very reasonable explanation," he said at last. "Yes," I said, "and true." He sighed. "Well, as long as it's not the gin, I don't mind what you keep in your shirt," he said seriously. "Bring the others in and we'll kill a noggin or 2 before you eat." So we invaded John Henderson's house, and within a couple of days we had turned him into what must have been the most long-suffering host on the west coast of Africa. For a man who likes his privacy, to invite 4 strangers to live in his house is a noble deed to start with. But when he has no liking for, and a grave mistrust of, any form of animal life, to invite 4 animal collectors to stay is an action so heroic that no words can describe it. Within 24 hours of our arrival, not only a mongoose, but a squirrel, a bush baby, and 2 monkeys were quartered on the veranda of John's house.